Right.
At that point, I wasn't ready to take a step back.
Right.
And I had confidence in myself at that point. And even though it was my home, it was Allentown and it was my hometown, it was a tough decision, and I didn't have another job behind me at the time.
Right.
Wind up getting the job in Gary, Indiana in 2002. And I find out pretty soon that we're going to be on the road the entire year. So
wow, that's pretty cool. So you probably don't know this, but I was actually the first play-by-play announcer of the then Kansas City T-Bones. So,
wow.
And that was in 2003, and so they had the brand new ballpark that year, and so I do know the story of the fact that they played the entire season on the road. The road's tough enough in independent baseball, but the whole season, wow. Yep. Tell me about it.
Yep. So 2002, we go on the road the entire year, and obviously it's a challenge, and we have millions of stories of things that happen on the road. Extremely competitive in the first half. I remember at the All-Star break, we were a couple games out of first place and really, again, put a good team together. It was difficult because, you're trying to convince guys to go on the road the entire year when Northern League was extremely competitive at the time, and you're a new team asking these guys to go on the road for 100 games. But we did put it together, but faded at the end, and it was difficult. It was difficult, and the travel was just too much, and but it was a really good experience. I had, my pitching coach with me. That's just to this day a very good friend of mine that was tremendous, and we got through it. And at the end of the year, had all intentions of going back there, opening the new stadium.
Right.
And then I get a call from New Jersey. And then that's when things start changing. And that's when, George Samus, the longtime St. Paul Saints manager, and I were buddies back in the Northeast League when he was in Waterbury and I was in Jersey. And he was actually a player when I was a coach, and we became friends. And I actually helped him get the job in New Jersey. And it was kind of weird. So he was leaving Jersey to go to St. Paul.
Okay.
So he calls me and he says, Joe, I got this job offer to go to St. Paul. I want you to know the whole family offered me the job before I went out to Gary, but I turned it down because of Peter Caroli. Long story short, we were bitter rivals, Allentown and Jersey, and I turned the job down before, and I decided not to go. But I told them I have a really good friend of mine, George Samus, that would do a great job, and he was in Waterbury,
right, and
he wound up taking the job in Jersey and did very well in Jersey for 2 years, and so happens now George is leaving to go to St. Paul, and I'm now in Gary, and obviously now this job is open. They want me to come back home, back east.
Right.
So they reach out to me. I wind up taking the job to come back home.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Did you experience hail damage last year and never got the work done? Most insurance companies only give you a year to get the roof fixed, and if you don't get it done, you could possibly not be compensated in full for the replacement of your roof. If you've been procrastinating getting that damaged roof taken care of, give us a call at 913-257-5426, and we'll send out an expert to help you through the process. We're never pushy, we're just here to help. Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
We're here at the 23rd Street Brewery with Matt Llewellyn. And Matt, you've got a great menu. You fine-tuned it a little bit. Great beers. There's always something to be had to put a smile on your face at the 23rd Street Brewery.
Oh, you bet. And Brian Haney would always say, come have the Haney turkey stack. Bill Self would say, come have the Bill Self pasta. I would say, come have the Bill Self pasta. It's great. Great mac and cheese, buffalo mac and cheese, and we've got a ton of other menu items that you're sure to love. We've got a great brewer who's brewing great beer, and if you like craft beer, our guy's the way to go. And we're making great drinks, too. There's a great new distillery in the state of Kansas called Llewellyn Distillery. My brother's doing that. He makes some great whiskey and vodka and rum, and we're doing all kinds of great drinks with those beverages.
Always fun to be had at the 23rd Street Brewery, 23rd and Castle. Come on by anytime and have a good time.
If you'd like to join these and other fine sponsors and market your business on Kansas City's #1 rated podcast, contact us at Danny@DannyKlinkscale.com. Look forward to working with you.
Our guest is Joe Calfapietra. He is the manager and just about everything else of the Kansas City Monarchs, and had tremendous success there, and they've won the title 3 of the last 5 years. And we are now in New Jersey, and the New Jersey Jackals, you had an unbelievable run there, 14 seasons, tremendous record, many league championship series appearances and championships and manager of the year awards on multiple occasions. So that thing really worked out, man.
Yeah, it was just it was tough not going back to Gary, because obviously I felt that I owed them something because they gave me an opportunity, but just started my family really was young, and I owed it to my wife to come back to the East Coast, and so we go back home. And
well, I'll just tell you this: driving to the ballpark in Gary would make you want to go to New Jersey, no matter how no matter how nice the ballpark was.
Yeah, well, we like Gary, but coming back to the East Coast was something, and so. We were there for 14 years, and we did. We had some success. I was just talking to my owner, Larry Hall, that still follows us and stays in touch. And the only thing that, I do have some regrets. We lost a lot of championship series there, and I feel, I was telling him, it's just. We lost 5 championships in a row, and I said to him, I just wish I won more at the end for him, and his dad and the family. It was just we just didn't win late, and we had so much success on the field and off the field, players making it to the big leagues, and guys having off the field success, and just winning 1 championship in 14 years and having so many appearances late in the playoffs, and not winning as many titles was always something that kind of burns inside.
When you're, obviously you had this long run there and successful, and as you say, maybe some disappointments, but give people a sense. They follow the Monarchs or know about independent baseball sort of peripherally, but you mentioned from a family standpoint and raising a family and making sure the finances are in order. Give us a sense of what it's like to be a long-term manager in a league like that, and we'll obviously get into the Monarchs eventually, but the lifestyle, the compensation, things like that.
Well, it's a grind. I mean, obviously, you try to do different things. And I have a baseball academy in the off season, which is that definitely does help, So you have those kind of things. You need a supportive family, because that's, I think, the biggest thing. And you need a supportive wife, and then you need supportive children, when they come in the picture. Right now I have a 23-year-old girl, and I have a daughter that's 18 that now goes to the KU.
Right.
You need that support team, that your family's behind you, because they miss out. They miss out on a lot. I haven't seen either of my daughters graduate from high school.
Wow.
I've missed many of weddings, of my family members, funerals and things that I've missed, and a lot of people don't understand the commitment that you make when you're in baseball, and it's difficult. And when you're away and when you're with your team, I say it all the time, they're your family. And when I'm there, they're my priority. And just as much as, and it sounds silly, but that's how I feel. And I'm committed to them just as much as I am my wife and my 2 kids. And that's how it is. It's, people say to me all the time, well, just go home. And I have a family right here I'm committed to also. And that's how I feel, with my heart. And it's just not easy just to leave the family that I'm with either,
Absolutely the case. Now, you're in independent baseball. You can tell me along the way if there's any thoughts or chances to move out of it. But part of it is player procurement, which you're so good at. And these players, they all have various different stories, either at the outset of their career or maybe the back end of their career. The compensation for the players is not great in these particular situations, but many of them are still pursuing a dream or maybe just winding up a dream. There's all kinds of different layers to that, isn't there?
Yeah, and that's, that's a big part of this whole thing, when you're committed to, when these players sign with you, the commitment level to them is extreme, because they're not making a lot of money. And your commitment to them is to help them advance themselves to get back on track. And they're not signing in New Jersey, Kansas City, because that's their ultimate goal.
Right.
And no disrespect to New Jersey or Kansas City, because they're great places to be. But their ultimate goal is to play in Yankee Stadium or Kauffman Stadium. And that's something that's understood. And that's a responsibility that we have as an organization, and I have to try to do everything I possibly can to help them get those opportunities to advance themselves, to be able to get back on track, and to be able to fulfill those dreams and those goals. And that's a part of why this whole system has worked for us, because we do a very good job, and we've done a very good job in New Jersey, and we've done a very good job in Kansas City, helping our players get second opportunities and sometimes even third opportunities. And that's why I think the attraction to come to our place is so good, because they know that we work so hard to get them those opportunities, and it's all about the player anyway at the end of the day, because they're good players, and good players get opportunities, and when good players get opportunities, then they strive, and when they and when they do get those opportunities, then they make the best of them.
that makes obviously you very proud. Along the way for you, were there